Joe Biden had his State of the Union address on Thursday evening. It was a dumpster fire, to say the least, with calling undocumented immigrants illegals and trying to say what he's doing for the economy, even though last time I talked to my wallet was actually laughing at me. No doubt your wallet was laughing at you too. And yet now, when it comes to this genocide that's happening, that he is bankrolling, we can say that, right? Bankrolling a genocide, I would say so. People are asking him and demanding of him to end the genocide. They're calling for ceasefires. And as he continues to pay out dividends to the state of Israel, it's harming him politically. It's like just proverbially 1,000 knives with each dollar. Just boom, 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 boom. Joe Biden is his own worst enemy. And let's take a look here.
You're heading to Michigan, where on the campaign trail, probably in the next few days, where more than 100,000 people voted uncommitted in the primary to protest your handling of the situation in Gaza. Some have said they will never vote for you. One told Charles Blow of the New York Times, and I'm quoting, "As bad as Mr. Trump's rhetoric was and him putting a travel ban on 5 Muslim countries, he wasn't overseeing and actively arming a genocide." Those are tough words. What's your response to that widely shared sentiment?
It's not widely shared. You guys make judgments you're not capable of making. That's not what all those people said. What they said was they're very upset, and I don't blame them for being upset.
Joe Biden's hilarious. They said that they will never vote for him. 100,000 people in Michigan voted uncommitted in the Michigan primary because of the genocide. That's not what they're saying. What are they saying, Joseph, what are they saying? What are they saying then? Well, let the delusions begin.
For being upset. There are families there. There are people who are dying. They want something done about it. And they're saying, Joe, do something. Do something. But the idea that they all think is genocide is just not, that's a different situation. Look.
How is it a different, wait. Beep, back up the truck. How is it a different situation? Joseph, you're the one who's literally giving them at least $3 billion a year for them to commit atrocities, and not just Gaza, but also the West Bank. Do not pee on our heads and tell us it's raining, Joseph. Because what's going on, if the United States did not facilitate financially Israel, this genocide would probably not be happening. And yet you're saying it's not that way? The Nile's not just a river in Egypt, Joseph. And it damn sure ain't the Suez Canal.
I can fully understand. And can't you? You have a family member there. A family member. Families are come from a family that is still isolated there.
Wait. What did JT say? What does the white liberal say? I see you. I hear you. I feel your pain. What did he say? What did we just go over in the last segment? They're gonna feign care. They're gonna act like, oh my God, this hurts me too. Oh my goodness, right-wing Netanyahu. Oh, he's bad. Meanwhile, the liberal Zionists want to keep the settlements there. They just want to oppress more quietly. Baby, let's continue.
And may be victimized. It's understandable they feel that way. And that's why I'm doing everything I can to try to stop it.
Bullshit. You look into those crow's feet ass dead eyes, squinted dead eyes, and tell me he's actually honestly telling the truth. I was born at night, not last night, Joseph. Goodness gracious. So, that's what Joe recently said. There are a lot of people that are really responding now to Joe Biden about this genocide. It is unavoidable. This is why I say he is his own worst enemy. They shouldn't have let him out of the basement. I'm telling you right now.
I say thank you. Look, thank you. Look, I don't resent.
I want you guys to take into account the white liberals that are in the crowd. When somebody tries to resist Joe Biden, the crowd basically circles the wagons and starts screaming 4 more years because they want to drown out the voice of a dissenter that is actually speaking up for Palestinian liberation. This is the white liberal that I was talking about in the last segment. When you're at a town hall and then you speak up, the white liberals will circle the wagons and prevent you from actually speaking the truth to power. They do not want you to do that. These are the same ones that will speak truth to power when it's Trump in office, but then when Biden is in office doing the exact same thing, oh, you can't do that. Oh, no, you better not.
I don't resent his passion. There's a lot of Palestinians who are being unfairly victimized. I say thank you.
Unfairly victimized. That's an understatement, Joseph. And there's more. There are so many people right now that are going through it. But yet, I just want to share this because this goes in the same line of the white moderates. The white moderates are also at the anchor desks of the corporate media. And they'll take up for Joe Biden. They will defend his actions, but there's no defending this.
15,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes, 3/4 of whom are women and children.
And it's horrible, but you don't see Israeli soldiers raping.
Well, Dana, I think
Palestinian
we're
women.
not 15.
Any wonder why a lot of people who typically watch corporate media ends up siding with people like Joe Biden? He is his own worst enemy. His devotion to the state of Israel will be his undoing. Now, despite some disagreements between us and Jordan Sheraton, I want to applaud Jordan Sheraton for getting this footage in Washington, D.C. Jordan Sheraton says, breaking ceasefire now, protesters are trying to block President Biden's motorcade from driving to the State of the Union. This happened on Thursday evening. So let's take a look. It's not looking good for Joseph. I want to share this as well. I actually shared this yesterday with one of my comrades, Valerie. But this is Real Clear Politics. This basically takes an aggregate of all the poll numbers for a particular poll and then averages out, because there's typically polls typically skew one way or another. So just want to, get the more aggregate, so it gets more of a true reflection of people's feelings versus it being more skewed in one way or another in favor of either liberals or conservatives. So, but this is what is said through Real Clear Politics. Let me share this with you guys as well. So this is about the general election, Trump versus Biden. So it goes over all of the polls. You have the Emerson, YouGov, Morning Consult, CBS, New York Times, Fox, Forbes, Wall Street, Quinnipiac, Rasmussen, all those polls, right? If you look at the RCP average, Real Clear Politics average, Trump is still beating Biden. Trump is beating Biden by 1.8 points, 47.6 to 45.8. I want you guys to think about this. They have been touting Trump as the second coming of Satan himself. Trump is an orange Beelzebub, right? That's what they've been touting Trump as. And even still, Biden can't beat him. That tells you everything you need to know about Joe Biden. That Joe Biden is horrible. And it is exacerbated by what's going on in Gaza. This is why the person who beats Joe Biden in this election cycle will be Joe Biden. He is his own worst enemy. his devotion to Zionism, his devotion to the corporations, well, that is what's going to finish his political career. And just in time, too, because I don't think his brain can take it anymore. Now, there's an interesting part of this poll that I also want to go to. General election, Trump versus Biden versus RFK Jr. versus Dr. West versus Dr. Jill Stein. Yes. And look at this. It's actually worse for Biden. So Trump comes out on top with 41.1%. Biden comes out with 38.4%. So it's a wider margin by 2.7 percentage points. Then RFK Jr. comes in with 12.7%. Dr. Cornel West comes in with 2.6%, and Dr. Jill Stein comes in with 1.7% respectively. And if you look at this, Joe Biden only comes out on top with 1 percentage point in the Quinnipiac poll. This means that even people who vote within the duopoly have a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to Joe Biden. So much so that they're willing to go back to the tangerine-colored devil because of Joe Biden. You can't make you can't make this stuff up. Truth is stranger than fiction. Joe Biden is his worst enemy. He is his own worst enemy. People are sick and tired. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a huge push to have more people vote uncommitted here in Florida, even though technically there is no Florida primary because they all just basically made sure that it's only Biden on the ballot. It's kind of hilarious because Joe Biden also had a hot mic moment right after the State of the Union address. I wanted to share this with you guys too, because I think this is interesting to say the least. So, shout out to Pat the Socialist. And shout out to Hotspot. Hotspot, they do great work with Nick of RBN and Nico House. So I want you guys to listen very closely.
Great speech. Really nice. I was telling your secretary, I was in Jordan and Israel this weekend, and just, you got to keep pushing what you're doing on the humanitarian stuff and all this stuff. So I told him, baby,
So, for those of you who did not hear, because the politician he was speaking to, I forget his name, but he actually was running for president back in 2020. He's that forgettable. But this is what Joe Biden said. He said, I told him, Bibi, and don't repeat this, but you and I are going to have a come to Jesus moment. Look, not to get religious on y'all, but do you know how many Palestinian Jews were probably killed since October 7th. If Jesus were born today, he probably would have been massacred as a little boy. Come to Jesus moment. Should have had that come to Jesus moment years ago. You didn't have that come to Jesus moment. What you did to allegedly to Tara Reid, did you? Joe, you didn't have that come to Jesus moment when you pushed for the Iraq war, did you? Did you have that come to Jesus moment when you made sure that nobody who has student loan debt is able to declare bankruptcy? Did you have a come to Jesus moment then? What about that come to Jesus moment when you wrote the 94 crime bill that Bill Clinton signed? What about the come to Jesus moment when you said you didn't want your kids to grow up in a racial jungle? You wrote the 94 crime bill that criminalized people for simple possession. Meanwhile, your son was doing simple possession. He was blowing clouds and sniffing up that twinkle twinkle. But yet he didn't go to prison because he's your son and because he is a little bit more melanin deficient than the rest of us. Joe, where was your come to Jesus moment when you were eulogizing Strom Thurmond and when you were against busing? Was that your come to Jesus moment? Look, I'm going to say this. Joe Biden will never have that moment because it's not in him. Never was. Never will be. If I were religious like I was back in the day, you can come to Jesus all you want, but Jesus will reject your ass. Joe Biden is his own worst enemy. There's so many layups he could have done in the last 4 years, but he didn't do it. Why? Because that is who he is. He's a servant of the empire. So, with that being said, leave the duopoly because they're not good for any of us. Walk away from the duopoly. There are third-party and independent candidates. If you want to still engage in electoral politics, by all means. But don't forget the ballot initiatives. Like, for instance, here in Florida, we actually passed a $15 an hour minimum wage. Pay attention to those ballot initiatives. What's on the ballot here in Florida? The legalization of cannabis for recreational use. That's on the ballot. So pay attention to that. And then try to do some work on the ground. And by doing some work on the ground, it means just working with people in your community. You could be someone who has, who is disabled like myself. Could you be doing work over the phone for your community? Could you be doing some helping with the organizers online? Or if you can get out there, helping them out in whichever way you can, where you can, do it according to, while paying attention closely to your limitations. Or just speaking to people and pointing them in the right direction. Sometimes that's necessary too. But yes, Do not stick with people who are fully committed to genocide, but they will lie to you in your face. These are the white liberals that MLK and Malcolm X warned us about. And just because they have our skin color, listen to what they're saying. Because even then, the ones who look like us but are pushing us into that direction, they're not with us either. And share information. Talk to your neighbors. Build community with them. Just by, hey, you know how to bake a pie? Go ahead, bake a pie. Go to your neighbor. Now, if a diabetic, well, use sugar substitutes. But yeah, go ahead, make that sweet potato pie, bring it over to your neighbor and say, hey, I just wanted to introduce you to the neighborhood or welcome you to the neighborhood. So yeah, thank you very much for that.